We're going to get started here in just a minute. Thank you, everybody, for showing up early. How can we all be real estate agents and be showing up on time? That's nuts, right? As we say, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And in the military, if you were late, they used a really bad word with you. So we're going to be getting going here in just a second. Today, we're going to be talking about mindset. I'll tell you what, one thing my mentor always taught me in doing this 27 years is that you are the brand, right? You've got to work on yourself as hard or even harder than you work on the business. A lot of times as agents, we get caught up working in our business, right? Doing all the things, doing the showings, negotiating contracts, going on listing appointments, right? We're working in our business. But what we have to realize is that we are the business. So you got to work on yourself. You have to be intentional with the work that you do on you because you want to be the best version of yourself that you can be. And it doesn't take anything spectacular, right? A little bit of work at a time each day, right? You spend a little bit of time each day just getting a little bit better. You use the compound effect of that over a long enough time, consistently applying it, and you can be a whole different person, right? It's all about who you can become on this journey that we're having here in life. And so we're going to get started right now. We're going to have three great speakers today. But here's the thing. These masterminds that we do, by the way, every Monday at noon Eastern time, they're for you. So if you have questions or things about something that one of the speakers said, go ahead and put it in the chat box and we'll get them to answer your question on that. And then at the end, after our three speakers have talked, we'd like to hear from you. We'd like to hear, what do you have that's like a great mindset thing, like a quick 30-second, 60-second blurb of something you've learned that's helped you in your real estate career, something that you can pass on to the other agents that are here. We are recording this, but we thank you for joining live. I think when you join live, you get the best thing out of it. So we're going to get started right now with Alex Montagano. He is, or Montagano, depending on what part of the country you're from. But he's been just crushing it in real estate. He has a great mindset. And today he's going to talk to you about personal growth and mindset for you in your real estate business. So Alex, take it from here.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jim. I appreciate it. And I want this to be interactive. So as I'm talking through some stuff, feel free to raise your hand, jump in, ask a question, whatever makes this better for you guys makes it better for me. So one thing that, when I got in the business, when I started in 2012, I was 25 years old. And, probably the first 4 or 5 years I was in the business, I tied my personal happiness, my joy, my life was all tied to the amount of success in the business that I was doing. And so I was on this real estate realtor roller coaster. You come in the office, you write a deal, you're on top of the world, you get the inspection, it's terrible. Bam, your deal falls apart and you're crushed. And what I noticed is it was really taxing on your personal goals, on your life, on your health. And it made it hard for you to be somebody, especially for me, somebody to do business with. And so when I would look at the transactions, you get strung out on a deal, you get a bad offer on a listing of yours and you take it personal. You can't sleep, you're up all night, and it just wears and wears on you. And I think if you've been in the business long enough, we've all been there. And so where I had a turning point, I started to really identify myself as more than just a business transaction doer. I was more than just a realtor. And that means, I'm a son to my parents, I'm a husband to my wife, I'm a dad to my twin 15-month-old kids. And I'm a friend, I'm a mentor, I'm a sports fanatic, all these things, right? So if I lose a transaction, it's okay because I stand for more than just the deal. And when I started looking at things through that light, it's still challenging not to ride this roller coaster, but you find joy in the other things that you're doing every single day. So, scheduling the habits and behaviors that I want to have as part of my business, it started to get a lot easier for me to get up and go to work every day. And so one thing I talk about with our team is if you have one deal and that client fires you or uses another realtor, you then have no deals. But if you have 10 deals and you lose one, then you have 9 more and you have 9 other people that you need to focus on. So understanding your identity and what you're trying to accomplish allows you to put yourself out there to generate more conversation and opportunity with more people. Additionally, I think it's incredibly important. I think it was like 2017, I started to get incredibly clear on my financials. I had hired an admin. I was 27 years old, doing pretty well in the business. I think I was doing at the time maybe $7 million a year, so generating a good amount of commission. But I didn't know how much money and how much business I needed to do to keep my lights on. So if I lost a deal, my pain came more from an ego that existed. And it was like, man, I don't lose deals, or this agent on the other end, or this client won't listen to me. And it wear you out. And at that time, I reverse engineer budgeted my entire life. So I did it professionally and I did it personally as well. So I knew how much money I spent on my business. I knew what my personal credit cards were, and I knew what my investments were. And what's crazy is that number shook out to be $20,000 a month. And for me at the time, that meant I needed to do somewhere between 3 or 4 transactions a month. And that shook out to be 40 transactions a year. My average commission at the time, I think, was about $6,000 is what my take was. And so I knew that if I could generate $20,000 in that given month, if I lost a deal, it fell out of escrow, a client fired me, I fired a client, I wanted to go on a trip, I knew that the lights stayed on and the world kept going round and round. And it made it a lot easier for me to run my business. So there were months that I would do 7, 8, 9, 10 closings. And then I would have a nightmare transaction with a client, and it made it a lot easier to go, hey, look, I really appreciate your support, and I totally understand where you come from, but I think you'd be better suited working with somebody else because our business styles don't align. I was 28 years old making that call to other professionals in the industry or other peers or clients of mine, investors that I work with. I mean, I walked away from an investor who was putting $3, $4, $5 million worth of opportunity in front of me. He was a pain in the butt. He was a nightmare client. And it created a ton of stress. It made me unhappy. And then you fire him and you move on and you're like, holy smokes, I feel better. I slept great. I can go to the gym. I can hang out with my friends. I can put my time and energy into other friends and clients and things that fulfill me. And so knowing your numbers and knowing the details of how you operate your business and what your identity is, like, what is your North Star? How do you get up every day and what do you work towards? And look, like, the route of an airplane, they say if you're flying from California to Washington, D.C., if it goes off track just a little bit, you fly into a whole nother stratosphere. And what's crazy about that, guys, is when you look at this business, if you let one single thing in your whole day derail the rest of your day, you're burning relationships with other realtors, with other clients, with your family, with your friends, and it makes it incredibly hard to be around. And so, as I got more and more clear with the things that were important to me, I just stopped doing that. I stopped feeling that. And I have folks on my team, they think it's funny. They're like, you're numb to everything. And the reality is I don't really look at things from the light of good or bad. I just look at them for what they are. And I've taken personality tests and some of that stuff may say I have a little bit of a screw loose, but it's like, look, like, you lose a deal. If you look at it as bad or good, it's okay to say, man, this really stinks. I worked hard for that. But then the people that are successful in our world are the people that move past that faster to go get the next opportunity. And they're more prepared to do so. So you're not sitting here sulking around, feeling sorry for yourself. You can't get off the couch. You can't go show a house. You can't go to your office. And so it's the idea of training your mind that, things don't happen to you, they happen for you. They're experiences that you get every single day, and you're allowed to take that and feel that. But it's really that next opportunity up. Like, let's go be prepared for the next opportunity. Additionally, some other side stuff I do. I listen to audiobooks, I read. You have to train your mind. It is an incredibly powerful muscle. I'll give you guys a couple books too, because I know there's folks in here that'll want to take those home. And I can put them in the chat when I finish up, but Trevor Moawad, Moawad, was a mind coach for Alabama football. It was Georgia football, Russell Wilson, Florida State football when they were winning championships with Jimbo Fisher. And the book's called Getting to Neutral. And then there's another book called It Takes What It Takes. And it helps you understand that you do what you have to do regardless of what the outcome is, because that's what your job is and that's what you're supposed to do. And the idea of getting to neutral is that you operate your business in this space of neutral. You're flat lines, you're never too high, you're never too low, you never ride some crazy emotional roller coaster. And look, like, things happen and you can be upset, and things happen and you can be really excited. But the faster you can get back to neutral, the clearer you can see on the visions and the goals that you have. And it goes back to that understanding what your North Star is and clarity on your goals. The last thing I would say, there's a couple other things I like to do. Again, reading the books, training your mind. I think that's incredibly powerful. I think it's important to exercise. You should sweat. You should move your body every single day. If you sit sedentary all day long at your desk, not only is it bad for your back, because you probably don't have the inversion table like Jim does, but it's good for your mind. It clears your brain. It gets the toxins out of your body. Go exercise, go sweat, move around, get outside, get some vitamin D. And then the last couple things, focus on your goals and dreams. Understand what you want to accomplish. If I want our team to sell 200 houses this year, and I dwelled and sulked every time we lost a deal, I'd be losing sight of the other 200 deals that we need to do. There's no time for that. We're going fast. We need to move. We got to go right now, and we got to get there. And so if we waste time on the one deal, we're losing sight of the big goals and the big vision. And it's part of having that clarity that we have. And then again, the last thing I said, play your game of numbers, create more opportunity. If you get burned by one deal, one person, one opportunity, you should have lines and lines of people that you can say, hey, look, I just freed up a ton of time. I know we couldn't get coffee for 3 weeks, or I know I couldn't show you the house till Saturday. I can go right now. Let's go. People love that. People love the energy. People love that. Hey, let's go do this right now. We don't have to wait on that guy anymore. And it frees you up. You get that time back. You get that energy back that you can pour into better things that are going to get back more and more to you. So I'll stop there. I've been rambling for about 10 minutes. If anybody has questions or anything, or if you want to turn it over to Jared, go ahead. Or Jim, if you have anything for me, feel free to throw it at me. Let's go.
Alex, I think it's awesome. I think probably one of the best power moves in real estate is when you're in a position where you can fire yourself. And nothing like controlling your business. People double over backwards when you try to fire yourself. They start apologizing for them screwing up and wanting to do better with that. So I love that. Frank Montreux agrees with you. He said he loves this. He said, my definition of daily success for his business is focus on staying on the moment and doing the highest ROI activity and quickly repel anything that distracts me from this. And then everybody loved your books. Tracy Boss Moves Wiggins, It Takes What It Takes, Getting to Neutral. Kaylin Klosterman says she's read both of those books and highly recommends them. So it sounds like everybody like it. Yeah, Frank Montreux says, LFG, baby, let's go.
There's one more thing I've got into over the years, and I'm sure you guys could probably guess this, or if you spend any time with me, you'd know. I'm an Italian guy. I'm super fiery. I'm very passionate about things I love and what I do. And you know what, that passion and that energy, sometimes I was a college athlete. I'd get so excited before a baseball game, I would throw up and I would burn out my energy. And then I would be like brain dead for half the game. I couldn't go out and perform. And so what I started doing as I got older, out of college, as I was trying to evolve my business and get better, I got into stoicism. Ryan Holiday is an incredible author. He scales down your day-to-day experiences, and stoicism really looks at things from a lens of like, it's black and white. And I think as people, we love to live in this gray area to tell us the narrative that we think that makes us feel the best to get through the day-to-day. And, a couple books from there that I am, Discipline is Destiny is one. The Obstacle is the Way. I'm looking at my shelf over here. Ego is the Enemy. Like, he has a ton of books that are fantastic. And what it just does is it just takes things that happen in life and it factualizes what they are. I lost a client. The client chose to go a different direction. I freed up my time. I got a new opportunity. And it allows you to look through things differently. It keeps you off this emotional roller coaster. And, I went from somebody that was just up and down and riding success and crashing and burning and getting back on the horse to somebody like, I just never get off the horse. And, you know, when it's time to get off, I get off and I rest, and then I get back on, and it's like, how was your break? And it was like, oh, it's enjoyable to do this. Now we go do that. And this is just what life is. It's directly in front of you. It's factual, and it allows you to navigate, and you see the directions through the woods a lot clearer than with everything with the muddied lenses. So
I love it. Love it, Alex. That's 11 years of experience right there, 175 transactions a year speaking. So great stuff to jump on board. Next, we're going to go to Jared. Jared Cowan, he's been, or Cohen, depending on what part of the country you're from. I'm messing everybody's name up today, Jared, on that. But Jared's just a couple years in the business, but man, he's popped a couple hundred deals already, guys. So he's definitely got it figured out. Another athlete turned realtor. You're going to want to hear what he has to say about mindset. As we know, for athletes, it's all about mindset. Two people who have the same talent, the one that has the better mindset is the one that's going to win in the sports arena. So Jared, take it away, man, and tell us what your numbers are. It's not bragging when you're in real estate. When you tell your numbers, I didn't have them exactly, but tell everybody what you've done, because it's going to perk up their ears.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jim. I've been in the business for a little over a year and a half, and closed just over 40 million. So, and that's about 130 transactions, something like that. So
out of Indiana, 40 million out of Indiana,
Indianapolis.
So it's not like you're in LA or something. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, so it's been great. So, I kind of want to hit on more in the business type mindset. Alex did a great job of, making a big picture. I wrote down kind of 5 key points that I want to hit on. I'll kind of just, let it rip. So first one, being setting a goal, getting something, in your mind that, maybe you don't think is attainable, but you want to reach for, and making sure that's set from day one. So a lot of people talk about, well, I did hit my goal. It's like, well, did you not hit your goal because it was a work ethic thing? Was it circumstances that came into the situation that you weren't planning on? And a lot of the times it's like they really just weren't willing to do what they needed to do to hit that goal. One thing that I got when I first started was a really good little tidbit. If you're that close to your goal, a lot of people are like, all right, you have 50 deals. That's your goal. You're at 49. You have 15 days left. Well, you probably own a property. Well, why don't you invest in a property? There's things that you can do to hit that goal that a lot of people aren't willing to do. So kind of, if you really want to get to that goal and you really want to go after it, you got to do what a lot of other people aren't willing to do. So the second thing that I want to hit on is leveraging your time. Alex talked a little bit about this, but really figuring out what your time is worth. I like to say everyone in this room should probably do an analysis on hourly what they're worth. So if you take your transactions and your commissions and divide that by how much you work in those income producing activities, that's what you're worth. So when you have the ability to delegate and hand stuff off that isn't producing you income, whether it be paperwork or putting lock boxes on, stuff that a lot of people do that they shouldn't be doing, that'll really drive your business forward in income producing activities. Another point that kind of comes off of that is being busy doesn't always mean you're making money. This is something that I realized early in the business, and a lot of young agents probably don't realize this, and they'll probably realize it in the next couple of years. But it was for me, when I'm sitting there doing paperwork, talking to clients, and I have a schedule that looks like I'm working 10 hours a day, starting out, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm making so much money. I'm so busy. Well, at the end of the day, when 9 out of 10 of those activities aren't actually producing you income, you're not making any money. So that is something that I think is huge in mindset, is focusing on what can actually provide you income rather than getting bogged down in the business and doing the stuff that doesn't increase revenue and increase ROI. So the third point or fourth point that I want to hit on is consistency. Having a routine, having a schedule, whether it's you're getting up in the morning, you're working out before you go into the office, or you're going into the office right away, doing that on the same time or at the same time every day will probably 10x your business, especially from the standpoint of making your daily, I would say, big points happen first. That's probably the biggest thing that I've changed in the last year, is making sure that I get all of my important tasks and everything that I want to get done first, right when I get into the office, because it will get done if you do it first. And then the last thing is always growing, always learning. You know, I hop on almost every one of these calls just because there's always something to learn. If you're not learning, or if you're not growing, especially in this business, you're dying. So, you know, a lot of people, I see it every day, like especially in this market where, you know, someone was a $20 million producer last year, all of a sudden their business is declining and now they're at 10, 12 million this year. So, you know, and that's one of the reasons they're not increasing their business, is because they're not continuing to learn, they're not continuing to grow. So always be learning, always be growing is a huge piece that I like to lean on. So
I love it.
Alex, I'm open to questions if anyone has any.
Yeah. We're talking with Alex, and we're talking with Jared, and we've got Lee coming up here in just a second. But if you have questions, you can throw them in the chat box and we can read them. If you have comments and things like that, put in there. Here in a second, we're going to be calling on all of you to tell us what's your 30-second, 60-second mindset nugget that you want to leave for everyone on this. But Jared, I have a question for you. We'll circle back to something you said. Step one. You said setting a goal. I coach with agents all the time and talk to them, and they all say they have goals, but not many of them have written goals. Do you write your goals out? What's your process with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for my business planning, I like to try and do that in Q4. So like November, December of the previous years, when I set all of my goals in place. And it's always, typically, it has been at least, just basically increasing in a percentage based on the previous year. And I have those written in my office on a big whiteboard, and those are there 365 days a year. So if they're not in front of you, you're not going to consistently look at them, and you're not going to be able to achieve them if you don't know what they are. So
I love that. I love that. So you were talking about consistency. I like that too. I wanted to ask you about that. What does your morning routine schedule look like for somebody, for your personal growth and your development? If somebody here, maybe they don't have a schedule, maybe they just wake up whenever they wake up and their real estate day starts at like noon or something like that. What's yours look like?
Yeah, so I get up every morning at 7 and then eat a little bit of breakfast, go straight to the office, and then I'm doing those income producing activities or high revenue generating activities from 7:30 to about 10. And then most of that's lead generation. And then from 10 to noon, I kind of leave that break for team meetings. I try and do a daily team meeting with either my admin or people on my team as we're trying to, create new ideas or increase business with the team. And then I do a lunch appointment if I don't have a coffee appointment that day with someone in the business. And then the afternoon is left for appointments, showings, stuff of that sort. And then I try and dwindle it down around 7:30 or 8 p.m.
I love it. That meeting with somebody in the business, that probably goes along with your always learning thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Taught me, if you listen closely enough, every person you meet can teach you something. And if they happen to listen, they can probably learn something from you. And then every now and then you have some serendipity where you both learn from each other, which is what I think we do on these calls every Monday at noon, right? We give everybody a chance to participate on this. I love it, Jared. Any questions for him? Let us know. But Drew says he loves sports. He loves going to a game, and he loves seeing professional athletes put themselves into their state of mind. And what I mean by that is, how do you react when you get your teeth kicked in? That's the biggest distinction between amateur athletes and professional athletes. Or if something happens in the beginning of the game to an amateur athlete, they're ruined for almost the rest of the game, right? You strike out or you miss the pass or miss the block or something, right? But professionals bounce back right away and put themselves back in the state. They hit the reset button. So are we professionals or are we amateurs? If you lose out on a real estate deal, or one of your past clients goes and buys a house with another real estate agent, they're dead to me, Drew, if they do that. But anyways, go ahead. Does that derail your entire week? or do you quickly move on? And are you appreciative for all the people that do support you? And maybe you play a game on how many of those people you can touch in the next 24 hours and drum up more business. That's the fastest way for you to get over something negative that happens in this real estate business. Part of your journey to greatness is a series of setbacks and failures. Great job, Alex and Jared. I think everybody on here agrees. Tony Williams says, Grow Global has a business planning goal setting session planned with Rob Campbell in October on this call. We're going to be actually be doing a live one. Tony, that actually segues a little bit. We'll be talking about it at the end, but we are going to be having September 12th. Our Grow Global group is going to be opening up in Louisville, Kentucky, or Louisville, depending on if you're from Ohio, we say Louisville, but in Kentucky, they look at us weird. We say, I guess it's Louisville. And September 12th, it's going to be all day. We're going to have amazing speakers, mentorship, no charge for anyone to come. It's going to be a great mastermind that we're going to be doing. Sujay had a question for you, Jared. How do you get your leads?
Yeah. So I try to break it up into 3 buckets. So one bucket being sphere of influence, people that I've already come in contact with or that I'm meeting through, natural ways, whether it be hanging out with friends, family. I like to do a monthly happy hour. That creates a lot of people that come through, get their emails, phone numbers, contact information. The second one being investor. I like to pocket a whole third of my business towards investors. So especially early on in the business, that's one of the easiest ways to get clients is work with investors. There's hundreds of them, thousands of them in your market, I guarantee it. And if you can provide value to them and you can find them deals, they will use you. Then the third being some lead cost marketing. So I do pay for some lead generation through a couple platforms online, and that makes up about a third of my business as well. So.
Beautiful. Great question, Sujay. Hopefully that answered your question on there. Let's see. Alex says, if you don't have deals falling apart, you're probably not doing enough business. That's Alex Kovacs. I think you're right on that, Alex, on there for sure. Lee Garland said, Jared, how do you determine what investors to deal with? Great question, Lee.
Yeah, one thing I just started doing is, a lot of investors will be looking for that home run deal or 1% deal. And I just tell them straight up, I say, I'm an investor myself. I've been investing for multiple years now in real estate. If I get a 1% deal, why would I give it to you and why would I not take it? And it kind of lights up their eyes like, oh my gosh, you're probably right. So getting those investors to buy into the fact that not only do you know what you're talking about, but you're also investing in the space and, it's going to take time with them working with you for them to get those home run deals, especially with out-of-state investors. That's often the case. So kind of creating almost a pushback on them is something that I do. And if they walk away at that point, then they walk away. But a lot of the good ones will realize the value in that and they'll work with you. They'll throw you a couple deals before they get the home run deal. And then you start bringing them the really good deals and they'll be with you forever. So.
Real quick on that too, we work with a ton of investors on our team and oftentimes when we get a deal, we push it out to 5, 6, 7, 10 clients at a time. And we just let them know. And if, when you start getting these investors at him and haw about every dollars and cents and what do you think? And it's like, look, I said this to a guy on the phone the other day, you're asking the wrong questions. Do you want to invest in this market? Like you told me you had your money, you were prepped, you were approved, is that not the case? Because we have other people that are in line that want to buy this. We're trying to support you and we're trying to help you. We've done all this work up front to make sure you're positioned and ready. Are you full of it or are you legit? Here's how you get into the game. And what we've noticed is we have some investors that come and they say, gosh, your track record and the education that you provided, like we're ready to go. Put a deal in front of them and they jump at it. And then you get other people that hem and haw and jerk you around and waste your time. And it's like, probably not for us, and probably something similar for Jared as well.
I like that. Hey, Jared, there's a question. I was wondering if you could answer it in the chat. Just go around there and chat like some of the different lead platforms that you're using. If you wanted to go in there and answer that, and everybody at the end of this, you're gonna have a chance to actually download the chat. So if there's things in there that you want to see and read later, you'll be able to download the chat. I'll tell you that as we wrap up here towards the end. But I want to go to first time ever actually speaking on a Grow Global. And by the way, ladies, Today was kind of the guy show, but so we're going to have an all ladies mastermind coming up here in the very near future. We decided that the other day, and so we got some baller women on here that sell a ton of real estate, and we're going to do an all ladies one to offset the all testosterone one we're having today, and bring you in there. And if you don't volunteer, we're going to be tapping some of you on the shoulder and bringing you in. So you might as well just volunteer that you'd be willing to speak on one of our upcoming topics here, because we know how many houses you sell. We know it. You're crushing it out there. But I want to get to Lee. So Lee's first time talking on here, 27 years in real estate. He looks really young, so he probably started when he was like 5 years old or something like that. But he was top RE/MAX in the state for 17 years, top team in the state. He was the first residential agent in Mississippi to break 1 million in GCI. Well done on that. He's the first agent to do 500 transactions in a year there. And his team leads since 1998. He's a national coach. He's a great guy you're going to want to listen to. I know I'm going to be taking some notes. Questions for Lee, type them in the chat box. We'll get to them. But Lee, take it away, man.
All right. Thank you all for having me. I'm excited to be here at GrowGlobal. This makeup of people and agents that are sharing it's out of this world. I mean, it just makes us all better. So definitely excited about that. And mindset is the topic today. And I've got 4 key points on mindset that I wanted to share with you. And it was kind of my thoughts coming into the business. When I came into the business, if my mindset would not have been right, I would have been the result of what all of my friends said. You'll never make it, Lee. That's what my friends told me. So if I would have taken that mindset into this business, I would have wound up out of the business within 18 months, like most everybody else, right? So my mindset coming into this was I was going to sink or I was going to swim. Success was the only option. And I teach that to the agents that come in on my team. When I'm looking at them, if they went to school and somebody at school said, well, it's going to be 6 months before you have your first paycheck. I'm like, you're not right for our team. You've got to believe that you're going to come into this and you're going to be more than just the average agent. You have to believe it. You either got to sink or swim. And some people say, well, I've got to do this part-time. I've got to do this part-time until I get my feet on the ground. Well, that's okay, but it's not part-time. It's not a part-time career. You're a dual career. You're working your butt off in 2 different jobs to make a difference in your life. You cannot think of it as a part-time job, because if you do, you're going to treat it that way. So 4 key components to mindset. One is, success is the only option. Have that in your mind. The other is, it's not personal. People are going to get mad at you. They're not going to do business with you. It's not personal. Turn your emotional switch off of, oh my gosh, I can't believe they just did that. Turn that switch off. Forget about it. You're here to represent your clients. You're here to do a good job. Don't get emotional in the process.
What's the saying, Lee? There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in real estate, right? Isn't that from a movie?
It is absolutely. And you know what? If you're the one crying, how in the world are you going to make the best? How are you going to help guide your client to the best decision to get to the best point? The other thing is you got to fuel yourself. You've got to make your mind up. You're going to succeed. You've got to be, you can't take things personally, but you've got to fuel yourself. You've got to keep your mind going. Alex mentioned reading books. I read books a lot of. I hate reading, but I read. Why? Because it changes my mindset. I do a lot of audio books, by the way. I watch video. I was watching video this morning, positive videos this morning, getting around people that are going places and not is critical. You've got to find fuel for your mindset in your business. And last but not least, and I think this is a key component to keeping your mindset right, is having a schedule. If you have a schedule, if you have a daily habit that you go to, then that's going to make a difference in your business. Because most people, when chaos enters the room, most people lose control of themselves, and therefore they lose control of their mindset. I'm not an Alex or Jared. I'm not a athlete. I'm an entrepreneur athlete. But I do know things when I was in grade school and I did play a few sports, I do know that it's the repetition. It's doing the same thing over and over and over and over. It builds muscle memory. And your mind is your greatest muscle in this business, being able to think about things clearly. And if you have a schedule, chaos very rarely will get you off track. So those are the 4 things that I do every day. I mean, I believe if you took everything away from me today, and I'm 53 years old, I'm not, if you took everything away from me today, there is no doubt in my mind I could rebuild it 5 times over. And I feed myself daily. So people, this business is hard. It really is. It's hard if you think it's hard, right? I don't think it's hard. The business is really not hard. We've got a job to do. We know the basics. We know we've got to have a schedule. We know we have to prospect. We know that there are crazy people in the world. I just don't let those people bother me. I do my job. So, anyway, that's really all I've got. I thought we're going to speak an hour today on mindset, and I was like, Alex and Jared have got to rock this thing, because mindset is just about feeding yourself positive information and taking action upon it and not sitting around thinking about it.
I love it, Lee. I love what you say about the schedule. I always tell an agent, show me your schedule. I can show you your paycheck where that's going to be. And so I have a question for all 3 of you, because all 3 of you said the same thing. And I want to get an example out there for the crowd. So all of you said, feed your mind, growing, learning, things like that. If you could have one book and one book only that you could read, and that would be it. Like, there's no other books you're going to get to read. You get one book. What would that one be? We'll go Alex, then we'll go Jared, then we'll go Lee. What's one book, the one book, if you were going to recommend it for personal growth, mindset, right? To grow your life, grow your business, become the best version of yourself you can be. What would that book be? Go ahead, Alex.
Man, you're on the hot seat. Darren Hardy's Compound Effect. I read that. I've seen him speak in person. And it talks about, the compounding nature, essentially like compounding interest, but in your daily habits and behaviors. And so there.
Yeah, Darren Hardy, for those of you who don't know him, former real estate agent, 21 years old, making $1 million a year. Compound Effect, Darren Hardy, huge book. How about you, Jared? One book and one book only.
One book only. I read this a while ago, but and I'm sure you guys all know who Dave Goggins is. He's a bit of a nut, but Can't Hurt Me is a pretty intense book. And that's probably, if I could only read one over again, it'd probably be that one.
Nothing like a Navy SEAL to teach you how to suffer, baby. Embrace the suck, right?
I listened to that. I listened to that book twice on audio, and they actually run it as like they have somebody that reads the book, and then they do like a podcast interview with Goggins. It's an awesome listen, and I listened to his 2 books back to back. Man, I was like jumping through my skin to get stuff done. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, you learn how to suffer like that. There's no stopping you, because everybody else will quit, right? And when you look to the right and you look to the left, there's no one else running. You're going to win the race. Lee, one book only. What do you got?
So Alex took my book.
Alex, you thief.
Oh, man. So just to throw a different book out there, since Alex took mine, probably The Power of One More.
Who's the author on that? Lee, I don't think I've ever heard that one. The Power of One More.
Ed Milet.
Oh yeah, Ed Milet. Oh jeez, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that guy's great. He's got great stuff on there. So some people are throwing Think and Grow Rich in there. What do you guys think about that? Thumbs up on that book. Yeah, you like that? Alex had the Compound Effect. How about the rest of you? Anybody else want to put them in the chat in there? Who Moved My Cheese? Austin Lipking says that. That's a great one. especially right now, right, Austin, with the market transitioning a little bit. That's a great book, Who Moved My Cheese? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Alex Kovacs says that. Amazing book. There we go. Nick Bohm, Can't Hurt Me. Powerful book on that. Jennifer Mendoza asked Jared, I missed yours. What was it? It's by David Goggins, is a Navy SEAL, and You Can't Hurt Me is the name of it. Tracy Boss Moves Wiggins says The Gift of Imperfection. Is it Bren Brown or Brene Brown? How do you say that, Tracy? Do you know?
It's Brene Brown. You had it right,
Brene
Brene. She's Brown.
Beautiful.
She's awesome.
Love it. Beautiful, beautiful. Great book, great book. So let's see. Relentless, From Good to Great to Unstoppable, Tim Grover. John Herhold puts that in there. Atomic Habits, there's another book. Ooh, Nick Bohm, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Same guy that did Think and Grow Rich did Outwitting the Devil. Great book. Success of the Millionaire Mind. Vicki Robinson says Success of the Millionaire Mind. Interesting. So, by the way, I'm going to teach you right now how to download the chat. Don't do it yet until we're done. But if you go to the bottom of the chat, there's 3 dots down there. You hover over it and it'll click, and then you click it. You can download the chat as a text file. So you'll have all these books. So you don't have to write all this down. It'll just download to your computer for you. Disciple is Destiny by Crystal. Disciple is Destiny. Amazing. Jack Canfield, The Success Principles. Kim Manson says that. These are awesome. These are awesome. Sujay says The Greatest Salesman in the World. OG Mandino. Nice. Tommy Spalding has The Gift of Influence. That came from Tony Williams. The Gift of Influence by Tommy Spalding. Jacob Belt in Boston says The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, written in 1910 and still applicable today. So very good. And all the other books actually pulled from that. You know, we see that, right, Jacob, that a lot of personal growth is all built on stuff that goes back time and time, right? Earl Nightingale going all the way back to the times all the way back. So you're right. Secrets of the Millionaire. Oh, Vicky changed. She said Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Beautiful. Thanks, Vicky. Tracy Boswoo's Wiggins says Boundaries by John Townsend. Lee Garland, Tribe of Millionaires. Alex, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F by Mark Manson. It's a great book. Learning how to be okay with people not liking you. That's awesome. I heard Lee say that, you know, sometimes in business, people are going to get upset. It's okay. Nothing personal. It's just business, right, Lee? It's just business. The Mandala of Being by Richard Moss. Wow, Olivia, very nice. The Mandala of Being by Richard Ross. And then The Gap in the Gain, Lee Garland put that in there. So awesome, great stuff. How about you guys? So we had these 3 speak. We can still have questions for them if you want. But how about any of you out there that'd like to, you can either raise your hand, we can unmute you or something like that. What's 30 seconds or a 60-second nugget or snippet that you got that you'd like to say? And if you're afraid to talk, you can put it in the chat and I'll read it for you. But don't be afraid. We're all sharing here. It's going to be great. Jacob Belt says the best book is the one that causes a person to take action. That's true, Jacob. You know, my mentor, Darren Hardy, taught me, he goes, I would rather have you read one book 52 times and place into action than to read 52 books in a year. To actually take the book and implement it as a workbook rather than just book after book after book after book. I don't know about the rest of you, but since we're on this personal growth thing, I think it was Zig Ziglar that taught the University on Wheels. I was taught this: when the car is moving, I'm either on the horn with a client or a family member, right? Or I've got an audio book going. No news, nothing like that, right? That stuff will just really darken your day. You get into those types of things and stuff like that. I used to always listen to sports, and there were even teams I wasn't even interested in, but I just have something playing in the background. He goes, why not play personal growth type stuff? So that's good. So Frank Monto, raising hand. I love it. Go ahead and unmute, Frank, if you can do that, and tell us your gold nugget you got for us.
Yeah. So, hey everybody. 2 things. Part of my affirmations. Probably the best things that move me is, number one is my thinking is I create a sense of urgency, and there's no. When I think of what is the thing that moves me, at any given situation. Like when I'm crossing the street and I see an oncoming car, I'm going to move out of the way. I don't need to think, oh, my back is hurting or I'm tired or whatever. I'm Carl Lewising my butt out of the way. So if I can create that sense of urgency in my mind that I'm on autopilot, and I do that by feeding my mind constantly through the day. And I don't just feed it once, I'm constantly feeding it. I have reminders that pop up on my phone 5 times a day. And I remind myself that number one is there's somebody, I use the Mark Cuban quote, somebody's working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to take my business away from me. And then I think of my family and I think of my kids. If I don't work, they don't eat. Those things drive me to an insane, relentless sense of urgency. Number 2 is I constantly remind myself also 5 times a day, opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. Put on a pair of glasses. There is opportunity. There is an overwhelming amount of business out there, an overwhelming amount. Now we've been sold this false illusion that because we're in this traditional box, but you got to get outside of the box, baby, and see that all put on the right pair of glasses. There is an astronomical amount of business out there. You may have to zig instead of zag, but it's out there.
I love it, Frank. You've got a fan club on here. It looks like Laura says you're the super mega badass, Frank. So I love it. Great stuff.
Gracias. Thank you.
You know, that visualization of if I don't do this, my kids don't eat. If that doesn't get you off your ass to do it, nothing's going to, right? So I love that. Great stuff on there. So Sujay had a question sent me into as a direct message. If the other speakers, both Lee and Alex, would like to type in the chat box what you guys do to generate leads. And Sujay, I'll let you know. And we have our YouTube channel. We've done at least, I think, 2 or 3 masterminds on lead generation. You'll definitely want to get on there. We had some baller agents. John Herhold's going to type in the chat box the URL for our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that. We're growing that channel and things like that. And we have all these different topics on there. We have the entire library going back. There's a ton of videos on there. So Sujay, you'll want to get on there. But if you guys would like to now, just to answer that question directly, for Alex and Lee, type in the chat box what you do to generate leads. That would be great going on there. Let's see. Mike Williams says 12-week year by Brian Moran. Is that like the 4-hour work week? Did he take something and adapt off that? I like it. Brian Moran, Mike Williams says do that. 12-week year. Alex says surrounding yourself with people that support your dream. That is a huge piece, right? You will be the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most, and try to never be the smartest person in the room, in rooms that you're in. So mindset without action creates distraction. What a great saying on Lee. That is awesome. Beautiful on that. Alex put his in there for you. Sujay, Alex put it in the chat box for you, his different lead generation approaches that he has on there.
I'll jump in and
go ahead.
Provide a little more thing here too. So you have to, we're talking about our mindset and all of those things. You have to, one of the things Lee talked about is like, he believes that if you took everything away from him, he could build this all over again. And that means that he has ultimate conviction about where he is, how he belongs here, and what he does every single day and why he does it. I remember when I played baseball as in college, I was struggling. I wasn't playing as much as I wanted to. And one night I went to the baseball field. I walked on the baseball field and no bat, no baseball, no nothing. And I played the game. I got in the batter's box. I swung, I run around the bases. I sat on home plate. I visualized my opportunities when they were presented to me. And coincidentally enough, the next day I got an opportunity to hit. I was pinch hitting. And if anybody's played baseball, pinch hitting sucks. It's incredibly challenging. And I got a hit. And then I got to play the next game. And then I got to play the next game and the next game and the next game. And then after that, there was no doubt in my mind that I belonged there. And so when I get up and I go to work every day, or when I go into a listing appointment, or when I talk to a buyer or whoever it is, I believe that there's nobody better for the job than me. And so with that ultimate conviction and that belief of how you approach the opportunity, you could have sold no houses. But if you're prepared and you're educated and you're confident and you're helpful and you care about that client across the other side of the table from you, they will feel that and they will believe that. And it's how it helps you avoid that question that we often get asked that pigeonholes us in a corner if we're new. How long have you done this? Well, I've actually only done it for this long, but here's the support that I have, and here's how I know that I can help you. And that's what people want to know. They care more knowing how much you care about them than what you simply know. We've heard people say that over and over, but putting that belief in your mind with ultimate conviction of what you do every single day is the right thing and the right journey, it will help you accomplish unbelievable things way faster than you ever dream of doing it on your own.
Love it. Love it. Anybody else want to add a little gold nugget they have? Maybe it's a saying that they have that they've heard before or something like that, or they got a book. Tracy Boss Moves Wiggins, never compare and maintain an abundance mindset over a lack mindset, right? People that always see failure, right? Versus everything is an opportunity. Work and know what's for you will fall in your path. Path means moving. Dreams come true when you wake up and work. Beautiful. Nick Bohm, New Jersey in the house. You're muted, brother.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Awesome mindset. I'm ready to go, guys. Everyone's killing it today. But I just wanted to just share, like, I've been on a bit of a personal development journey this year. And part of the biggest part for me, I would say, is like we're all accountable to a number of people in our lives, whether it's our family, our clients, our business partners, whatever that is. But never forget the first person that you're accountable to is you. And so part of that for me is a journaling practice where every morning and every evening I do journaling where it's actually prompts. It's not just free writing. I have questions that I ask myself. And it's like, what challenges do I anticipate I'm going to encounter today? Working through in my head before the day even starts, like, what could I run into that's going to be an issue? And then when those moments happen, I've already planned for that. I already know what I'm going to do because I've already worked it out in my head. So just like asking tough questions of yourself morning and then recap it in the evening. How did I do? I had these things that I wanted to get done, these goals, these tasks. Did I crush it? Did I lose? Why did I lose? And reset on a daily basis.
I love that, Nick. I love it. Goes along with, I don't know if you've read it or not, but Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. He's a Navy SEAL like David Goggins. And Extreme Ownership. Everything in my life is my responsibility and my fault. Everything that happens. And it's an awesome piece on that. So anybody else want to share? We're nearing the end here on here. If you're going to jump off, by the way, I'm going to give a couple announcements real quick here, just because I know some people are early, quick with the trigger finger, jump off. Don't forget to download all these books, add them to your Audible. Look, if you just listen to Audible on the way to a showing and on the way back, just once a day, you'll have read like 10 books by the end of the year. I think that's what they say, the amount of time that it takes for that to do, that you can get in there. And so that's a great way, the University on Wheels with that. So go ahead and make sure you download the chat. The other thing I want you to know is that we're going to do one of these live. And we're going to have people to Louisville, Kentucky. And we're going to be going to Stephanie Gillison's, well, you can't really call it a house, more of a palace. So if you're still on here, Stephanie, you want to talk about that, September 12th coming up. It's in a few weeks. And let's see, is she? Yeah, Stephanie, go ahead.
I'm here.
Tell us a little bit about what we're going to do.
You know, we're going to talk about leverage. I loved when Frank brought up that there are so many opportunities in this industry to make money, because there is, right? I mean, that's been my definition of success my entire 24 years in the business, is go find the opportunity. I don't wait for the opportunity to find me. I go out and I seek it. And so we're going to get together in real life. You're going to see the opportunities that I've made for myself, but how we can share with one another to truly build wealth. How do you build wealth? You know, we hear about selling more homes and doing more business. We're going to share all of that, you know, in person, really give each other a leg up and the leverage necessary to go out and recognize how you too can leverage and not just build a unbelievable next year, but how you can build a lifelong career in so many ways. So I'm excited for it.
And Stephanie, everybody's staying at your place, right? You have 11 bedrooms, so there's going to be space for all of us. And our bathing suit's optional. Or is that
Hey, bathing suits are definitely optional. We've got a nice saltwater pool overlooking the river. It's going to be a very fun time, but also
by that I did not mean it was going to be a nude swim party. I meant you can go swimming if you want. We're going to be wearing
Correct.
some sort of clothing, right? It's not
Correct.
that type
Correct.
of, not in the beginning anyway.
No Speedos, Tony Williams.
Right. Well, you never know. If you got Tony's body, you can get away with it. Let him wear that. So here's the thing. Next week's topic, John Herhold, what is next week's topic that we've got going on? Unmute there and promote for next week so everybody knows what they got going on so they can invite a friend. Look, bring a friend. The more agents we have, the more we all learn from each other. What do we got next week, John?
You know, what's interesting about next week is we are going to get agents that are working with us that are succeeding, that have not been on camera.
Ladies, let's do the ladies one next week then. All ladies one.
We could do all ladies next week, but we're going to have 3 agents that have never spoke before. They're going to be sharing their nuggets and what they're doing on a daily basis to grow their business.
So we're going to do the agent interview. We're going to interview them.
We're doing agent interviews with
Love
3 people, and it's going to be fantastic. And I'm looking forward to next week. And I want to thank all the speakers here today and everybody who decided to step up and contribute as well. We had some great sidebar conversations today. So, and thank you, Jim.
I love it. Absolutely. And so next week's going to be great. We'll have 3 agents on here. We'll have some set questions to interview them with. But some of you had great questions here in the chat. Look, show up next week and throw those questions at the agents. They'll be in the hot seat. Drill them. Let's see what they got, man, because none of it's scripted. Let's see how they answer. I know Sujay had some questions. He was definitely interested in lead generation on here and things like that. Again, let me encourage everybody to check out the YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to it. Go back through there. There's all kinds of stuff, things from business brokering to short sales to lead gen to mastermind to daily method of operation. All that kind of stuff's on there. You'll love the great library that we have. And then next week, we'll be interviewing 3 brand new agents that have never been on here before. Seasoned producing agents. So you're going to want to hear what they have to say. September 12th, save the date. We'll be getting more details out about that as it gets a little bit closer. I want to thank everybody for jumping on today. Thanks for all 3 of our speakers. That was great stuff that we had. Don't forget to download the chat. These books in here that people list are gold. Go down to the bottom in the chat, hover over the 3 dots, click it, and save chat to your computer, right? Just go up to the top and click save chat. I just did it myself, so I have it. Thanks everybody for jumping on. Say, hey, next week, bring a friend. Bring a friend. We wanted to continue to grow this thing. The more we have, the more we learn. Yeah, buy as many as you want. It's all open. There's the link to the YouTube. Go ahead and link it and subscribe. Click the bell for notifications, all the good stuff like that. Leave us a thumbs up, nice comment, things like that as we grow the channel. So appreciate everybody jumping on. Have a great one. We'll see you next Monday, noon Eastern Standard Time. Same channel. Bye, everybody.